Hey everyone, welcome back to my second video on how to create iOS apps in Swift using Parse. Today we are going to create our sign up and login page. And by the end of this tutorial, they will be fully functioning and storing user information in our Parse database that we can pull back later. Swift 2.0 came out, and for those of you that have Xcode beta like I have and have used Swift 2.0, there's a lot of new features, a lot of new code changes, and as you can see, I have a few errors up here already. I just opened up where we left off in the new Xcode beta, and I'm going to show you guys how to solve these errors, what it's going to look like, and then we're going to continue on creating our sign up and login pages. So for those of you that have this, you can follow along. Those of you that don't, I will probably do another video later on to show you guys the older version of Swift, but for now I want to show you guys the new stuff because it's amazing and I love using it and you guys are really going to like it. So let's head into this error here, and these ones here, it's because I removed parse from the import statement in all my files. We are going to create our bridging header file, and you'll want to right click on resume and add new file, and make sure that you select iOS, not OS X, and then click on Objective-C file, open that, and then we're just going to name this resume header, and then leave it as empty file and NSObject, and then we'll hit next and just click create, and it should ask you if you want to create a bridging header file, and you'll want to click create. It's going to create two files, one at the top where it's your Objective-C here, your .m. You just want to delete that one because we don't need it. So go ahead and move to trash. Now the bottom one down here is the bridging header file. Now this is the one that we will use to import all of our framework references. So the first one that we want to do is pound import parse /parse.h, and the second one is import bolts /bolts.h. And those are the two that we're going to work with right now. I have a third one that I'm going to be using, which is parse UI /parse UI constants. I'm going to do another video and I'm going to show you guys how to use their custom login page. You just add some code and the page is already generated for you. So I'll show you guys how to do that after this tutorial. So these are the only two that we're going to be using right now. So you can hit Command Save and head on over to your app delegate, and you should see some errors here. If you guys have the import statements in here, go ahead and delete those. Same with view controller, if you had those in there, import parse, just delete those and the bolts. And right now it's not really taking anything away, so let's just hit build and see what happens. Okay, so that took away 3 of the errors and we still have 1 left. So it says print ln is not used anymore. This is not used anymore in Swift 2.0. They changed it to just print. So we can go ahead and fix that and just go ahead and double click and it should fix that. So there's print. So now we have no errors, which is awesome. In my last test case where I was testing out all of this, when I moved over to the new Swift 2.0, it actually changed. If you click on resume, it actually went in and changed my my bundle identifier. If you guys see this has changed and it's not what we originally had it like this, then Swift 2.0, those changes actually changed it. So if you guys are having issues with that, let me know and I'll show you guys how to fix it. You actually have to go to your build settings, and down here where it says product bundle identifier, you guys will have to double click that, and you guys should see some type of product bundle identifier, maybe just like with all underscores, or even this, which some of you might see. If it's incorrect, we can change it. It should be the .com, then your name, then .resume. So if this gives us problems, I'll change it, but it doesn't look like there's any errors right now, so I'm just gonna leave it and see what happens. So what we want to do now is actually organize our files. So let's right click on resume, and we are going to add new group. And we're going to name this model. This is where we're going to hold all of our models. And we're going to create another one called view controllers. Let's put a space in between there. Okay, so these are our two folders, and this is obviously going to hold our view controllers. So let's drag this one into here. And our models, we don't have any yet. This is where we're going to be storing them. Images and launch screen, I'd like to put those in supporting files and just kind of move those out of the way. Main storyboard, that can stay out, and your app delegate, that can stay out as well. So these two will remain by themselves, or you can put your app delegate in your view controllers if you really wanted to, but I'm just going to leave it out. And your resume bridging header file, that can just stay out as well. Or you know what, let's put it in supporting files and get that out of the way as well. Okay, so now we have all those in supporting files, and we have our folder set up. So what we want to do now is actually delete this this object storage to parse here. So we're going to remove that because we don't need it anymore. Don't forget to remove this other curly brace, and we should be good there. Okay, so we're going to take that out, so we should have an empty view controller right now. And let's head on over to our main storyboard. Okay, so we're going to add in our tab view controller. So you guys don't have to do a tab view controller, but this is what I'm going to do for this tutorial. So we already have a view controller here, and if you click on this button over here, it's going to show you your utility bar. So what we'll want to do is drag out the tab bar controller. So if you type in tab, and then it should come up. So tab bar controller, we're just going to drag that onto the screen here into the editor and drop it. I'm going to close this. And then it overlapped our other view controller, which we need to get out of the way here. So move it on over to the side. So now we have a tab bar controller, and you want to make this one the is initial view controller. So you'll want to click on this up here, and then click on is initial view controller, and you should see an arrow to the left. So that's going to say, hey, this is the first view, and then from there we're going to go into tab number 1 or wherever you want. So this one here, item 1, this is going to be our first view controller. So double click on that to zoom in. Now what we want to do is actually rename this view controller here. This one is actually already attached to this other view over here, but we're going to rename this. Let's just rename it main view controller. Hit enter, and then you'll want to change the class as well. So we're going to type in main and then command save. So now we have named this main view controller, and we're going to want to link this to our first tab view. So if you go back over to main storyboard, zoom out, then at the very top here, the first one, you want to double click on that, zoom in, make sure this is selected, and navigate to this section here where we should be able to type in main view controller. It should show up, hit enter. So now we just linked this view with main view controller file. So all of our changes will go in this file for this view. Now this view over here, the initial one that we had, we're going to want to create a file for that. So let's right click on view controllers and new file and iOS, and we are going to create a Cocoa Touch class. This one we are going to name Sign In View Controller. And you'll want a UI View Controller, no zip file, and Swift. Make sure that is selected and not Objective-C. And then hit Next. And we'll create. Okay, so now we have our Sign In View Controller file. And let's link that back to our view. So click on the yellow circle again and type in sign, and there it is. So hit enter. So now we just linked this view with that file. So the next thing that we want to do is actually add in another view controller, because we need a sign up page. So here's view controller. So we're just going to drag it in again. And let's drag it to the side here. And we can line them up. So we need a view controller file for this one as well. So let's right click, new file, and make sure you're in iOS again and Cocoa Touch. And let's do sign up view controller. Next and create. So now we have this file for our sign up view controller. Go back over to storyboard and do the same thing here. So sign up, so not sign in, you will want sign up. There we go. So now we just linked our sign up view controller file with our sign up view that we're going to be using. If you guys have an error up here, it's just going to say that these are unreachable right now because we haven't made them part of the actual tab bar controller views yet. So we're going to link that here in a second. So now that we have all of our views set up, we are going to add in all of our text fields, our buttons, our labels. So that's what we're going to do right now. So this item 1 here for the tab bar controller, this first one, make sure you're clicked into it, and we are just going to add a label. So we'll type in label down here, should pull up. So we can just drag that right onto the screen, and let's just name this main view. This way we know this one is our main view. And I'm just going to center it here. Leave that there. Now let's scroll over to our sign in view controller and click on that. Now this one, we are going to drag in the label up top, and we're going to say sign in. Now let's make this a little bit bigger here, and let's head over to the label area here where we're going to actually increase the size. So let's just increase this to let's say about 30. We'll make this a little bit smaller again. Okay, so now that we have this a little bit bigger here, let's just make it, we'll make it blue. And I'm just going to drag it and set it right about to the top where the tab bar would be at the top, and center it. So now that we have that centered, we are going to drag in our 2 text fields. So let's drag in the 2 text fields. This will be our username, and the other one would be our password. So let's just make this a little bit bigger, and we want to center that, and we want this one to be the same size. And let's just line it up here with even spacing. Let's bring this down a little bit. You know what, I kind of want to make this a little bit bigger too. So let's just make it a little bit bigger. we'll go to 40. All right, so now that we have that, let's add in a label again. And this is just going to go right under the last text field. And we're going to actually make this one the full length. And then what we're going to do is, let's center it. So we're going to align the text as centered. And I'm actually going to delete it. So we don't want anything in there right now. This is where our error is going to be displayed if there is one. So let's make this a little bit bigger here. So this is where our error is going to go. And now under this, we want our button. And this will be our sign up button or sign in button. And now we want to add our sign in button. So let's just add that here. And then type in sign in. This one we are going to make bigger as well. And I want to change the background color. So there should be, if you scroll down a little bit, there should be background. Let's make that one blue. And go back up to the top. And text color, we're going to make that one white. So it looks like this. And let's make that lettering a little bit bigger here. If we click on it. And let's make this lettering a little bit bigger. Make it about 25. We'll make our button a little bit bigger too. And we want to center that as well. Let's line it up right under the label that we have. Okay, so there's our sign in button. And we need one more button. So that way we can direct our users over to our sign up page. So I'm going to make it the width of the text fields. And we're going to write in new to resume app, sign up now. We'll just hit enter. And we're going to leave this. Looks pretty good to me as far as size goes. Make sure that it's even here with everything. It looks like we might need to go a little bit bigger, so I'll tell you what, let's just extend these two because I like everything to be even. So realign everything again. Make sure it's even. I think this has some room to go down to our text field. Okay, so there's our text field. So yeah, we'll leave it right here. So now we have our button. So this is our sign in page. The one thing that we'll want to do right now is let's link this button to this sign up page over here. So what you'll want to do is right click and drag over to the sign up page and let go, and then present modally. So that's going to present over to our sign up page. So let's actually let's just use this sign in button here. Let's just Command C and come over here to sign up and hit Command B. Let's just paste it so they're about the same size. So let's go ahead and center this one as well. Keep it close to the top. Just see if they line up about the same. and change this to up. Okay, so now we have sign up. And let's add in our text fields here. So type in text, and there's our first text field. And we're going to make this one pretty big here. The possibility of longer emails and names are going to require that these are a little bit bigger. You don't want to make them too big in case somebody still has a smaller iPhone, but this looks about right. So you can always space them out or set a width here, whatever you want to do. If you wanted to make it like even, you hit 350, make it 350. So make sure this is center, and we are just going to copy, paste, and set this one up right under it, and do it again and again. So we have first name, last name, username, email, password, and one more for confirm password. So now we have all of our text fields in place. So the other thing that we want to do is add in another label, because we're going to have a lot of users with errors. Maybe the password's not long enough, or the username is already taken. So we're going to have to prepare for those. So we're going to do it by displaying a label, and we're going to center this one again. So let's center it. Oh, and the other thing that I wanted to do was this needs to be red for our error, which we need to change on the other one as well. So change that to red, delete the label text, and that should be good there. This one, let's go back over here and change this one to red as well. Okay, so that's red. This one's red. And let's make it a little bit bigger, like the other one. Okay, so now we got to so now we got to add in our sign up button. So let's go back to button, and let's add this one right under our label, and click sign up, or type in sign up, enter, and let's see what the measurements were on this one. So this one is 127 by 62. So let's do 127 by 62. Okay, so let's do the same with the styling of this. So we know that our font was 25, so we can make it 25, and we know our text color is white. And you guys can feel free to color these pages however you want. I'm just doing something plain and simple right now. Background blue again. And there's our button. So let's go ahead and place that and center it right under our label. This is all pretty low here, and I want to make sure there's enough room here at the bottom. So I kind of want to move this up to where the tab bar would be, or where the top bar would be. And then make sure this is up a little bit, just a tiny bit. So we're going to move everything up just a little, just so we make sure we have enough room. And this should be moved up as well. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller, and then this should be moved up right under it. And now we have one more button to add. And this is just going to say already a user, sign in now, enter, and then let's reposition this back to center right under our sign up button and leave it right there. Okay, so that looks good for now. So let's go back over to our sign in page, And I want to make this a little bit more presentable as well, as far as matching up with this. So let's move this down just a little bit and move this down as well. And we have our label, which we want to move down. And let's move these down to match as well. Okay, so now everything looks pretty good. Everything's pretty well spaced and even, and everything is set up now with our sign in and sign up. So let's we can link this button back to over here and present modally. So now that when they click this button, it'll just go right back to this page. So now we have both of our views set up. So we have everything in place. Now we just need to link all the text fields and buttons back to our view controller files and add in our code.